This is what my face looks like.
And here's mine.
So this is Bishop Rob Skirving, and he is the Chancellor of Sewanee. And we just finished having lunch, and I'm going to ask him 2 questions, and he's going to ask me 2 questions. He knows what I'm going to ask him. I don't know what he's going to ask me. All right, so first question. Where do you find meaning and purpose in your work?
Well, I think as I've come to understand the church and its mission, one of the things I really enjoy is watching people come together and across differences and expressing differences, and yet with a common purpose of being community and sharing that kind of community in the rest of the world.
Yeah. So like helping people figure out how to find a sense of common purpose across that diversity.
I think there are way too many ways in our world where we get separated by the polarities that naturally divide us.
Yeah.
And that can be in every element of our lives, not just one or another. And when we get into those places, we're often a lot more inclined to just hang with the others that are just like us, and disinclined to engage with those who might be more different from us.
Yeah.
And so I love finding the ways of bringing people together and getting past some of that.
All right, so let me get this right. You think that the church should be different than that?
Yeah. Something about that mission of reconciliation in the name of Jesus. So,
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what feeds you? What feeds your soul?
Well, during COVID, I've been reminded of what feeds my soul, because I'm a really deep introvert.
Yeah.
And so I've had more time to myself or with my wife than I would have ever imagined having before retirement.
Yeah.
And I've realized that getting exercise and quiet reading and prayer really feed me for the work that most people actually see me do.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say it'll work for everybody, but for me, that quiet time in the morning or at other times during the day, I've been getting a lot more exercise these last few months, and it's been really good for my health.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. I guess the other quiet thing is I've always understood my role in ministry as being something of a choreographer.
Yeah.
Granted, as you know, we have to be on stage a lot.
Yeah.
We have to be the one that people see, leading worship, speaking, preaching. But it really feeds my soul when I get to be at the back or the side or somewhere other than center stage and watch other people shine and watch them flourish in the way that they've been created to be as unique individuals. So there's a couple things.
Awesome. All right, so you got 2 questions for me.
Okay, so my first one's going to be maybe a little more serious. Yesterday you and I were both in All Saints Chapel for a service of leave taking for 3 significant leaders at the university, and a service of welcoming for 3 people, including you. What was the part of that service that stood out for you as sort of most personally significant?
Oh, most personally significant. I mean, there's 2. One, both things that John McCardle said. One, I so appreciated his generosity and his challenge to the chapel staff and to me as chaplain in making resources available to do the sort of work that you were just talking about, right? Finding ways to bring folks together for whatever event. The only condition being that they have to come to somebody who's different from themselves.
That's right, a special gift that's available for that.
Yeah, that's personally significant, that one. I also was deeply moved to hear him say to now Vice Chancellor Brigady, quoting from the book of Esther, perhaps you've come into this position for such a time as this.
Yeah. So there's the sort of my next question to you, really, as you. Now, granted, it's been a strange beginning for you with an empty campus and people working in isolation mostly. What are you looking forward to most when the time comes that there are students back on campus and you're able to engage in what you imagine campus ministry to be? What are you looking forward to the most?
Well, so the good news is I'm already doing it, right? I mean, this sort of work, but with students, and I've already been able to do one sit down with a student.
I think I saw that one with Mandy.
Yes. Yeah. To me, I'm an introvert too, but people are endlessly interesting and fascinating to me, and so to be able to sit down and hear about folks' stories and what makes them tick and what they're interested in and what they're passionate about, I cannot wait for that. So That's it.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to being back on campus with you when that time comes, to maybe sharing a little bit of that with you. This is a great place, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Great. Thank you, Bishop Skirving.
Thank you. Blessings, everybody.